At 6:06, a new Georgia Supreme Court ruling changing how DUI cases are handled. This is back to our talker here. It now says refusing a breathalyzer test cannot be used against you in court. Liza Lucas joining us again from the bridge. Liza, what does this mean for drivers and police?
Well, police can basically still ask you to submit that breathalyzer test, but if you refuse, again, that's not going to be held up against you when it comes to a trial. So this is a story that we've been following very closely, and top of your reactions on the Supreme Court made this ruling, zeroing in on a small difference between the U.S. Constitution and the Georgia Constitution. Now, in Georgia, people are protected against acts of self-incrimination, and that's what came into play here. Attorneys told 11 Alive that this is shocking for a lot of people when it comes to the ruling because it is in line rather for innocent until proven guilty. Now, police body cam video, the officers' training, and their observations at the scene can still be used against drivers at trial. And also to know, if you refuse that breath test, your driver's license could still indeed be suspended for a year. So there still are repercussions in play, but a big shift that a lot of you are talking about on our page. And some of those comments that have been coming in, you can just see that back and forth conversation. Judy posting, you lose that right when you drink and drive. But to that, Megan actually says rights granted by the Constitution are not conditional in that way. And Carl also chiming in below saying you're innocent until proven guilty in this country. So people very split on this topic. And for a lot of people, this hits very close to home.
Indeed. All right. I just wanted to mention, too, if you go to our website, 11alive.com, we have much more on the investigators, the 11 Alive investigators, their 2017 series, The Drug Whisperer, and how this high court decision may also bring into question some arrests tied to that series that they've done as well. So this was big news in our newsroom when it came down yesterday. Interesting to see those comments on social.
Yeah, I knew that was always the big thing people talk about when they get pulled over and you were forced to take the breath test, that you thought if you took it, you would immediately lose your license for 1 year. I know that was a big selling point for not taking that. But I mean, that's the proof that you need to prove that in court. So I'm not quite understanding the ruling here, because the blood test, by the time you do get back to the station, you get processed and whatnot. What happens to that blood alcohol content? You know, are they losing valuable time? So it's very interesting investigation right there, and it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves.
Sort of makes you want to check each state's law, right? I mean, there's always, I feel like for me, there's always been some confusion about your rights when you're pulled over. You have the right to say you don't want to do a breathalyzer or a blood test, but then to know that it's used against you in a court of law, I think has been confusing. But now it's very clear. That cannot come up, that this driver refused to take the test, which I think is a win for many drivers.
I remember back in the day, they were handing out cards where you didn't even speak to the officer. You handed the card and basically explaining all your rights. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not taking a test. I'm not doing the field sobriety. Put me in handcuffs, put me in the car, and then we'll talk to my lawyer.
Yeah.